Okay, well, I just watched the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, as he explained the purpose for him signing executive orders and putting those things in place that would assist the American worker. Now, to be honest with you, I was under the impression that if they could not in Congress decide what they needed to do for either side, that they would just begin to pull out pieces that would give immediate help to the American people. But it would appear that neither side could agree. And as the president, he went ahead and utilized his ability to write executive orders to get people paid. So one thing I can give you in a nutshell is that he did say that they will be giving the extension of the unemployment from the federal government in the amount of $400, which would roughly be about 75%. He did mention also that the states would have to begin to dole that out. There were not a lot of technical pieces that were involved. I think he was specifically trying to drive home the fact that here, I'm saying to do it, now you guys do it, let's get it done. Another thing that he mentioned to me, which made a lot of sense, was to forego the payroll taxes for employees. As well, he did put some benefits in there for employers for the payroll tax piece. So that to me is another good thing. As you can imagine, a lot of people are, not making that much. And when you have to have all the payroll taxes all bottled up inside of there, it does cause a bit of a problem. So with that, he went ahead and he wrote that as well. A couple of good pieces that he put in there for the veterans were really good. One specifically, I'm going to have to do a little research on it, but because of the sake of time and how close it was to him actually completing the press conference, I wanted to get these points out to you guys as soon as possible. But one piece that he did mention as it related to the veterans was the care that he had placed for the veterans with dual sight blindness. Again, I'll have to go through the entire appendix to see exactly what is in that part. There were a couple of points there that to me were a little bit questionable as to the blanket statement, because the Veterans Affairs, the VA is a very complex animal in and of itself. And so because of that, it would take me to go back and actually reflect and read and pull through some things to get some understanding. But again, just bringing you this information right now after the press conference ended. Wanted to make sure that I got enough of it and digested the most important key points. Also, he did mention that they were going to continue the help with HUD, the home portion where people are losing their houses or being evicted. He pretty much extended that as well. Some of those dates go out to the end of the year. Now, in the very beginning, when they did the coronavirus care package, I was thinking that perhaps what would have made good sense from the beginning or the onset was to go on ahead and push it out to December 31st of 2020, because no one really knew exactly what to look for as it related to an end date of the entire pandemic. But in this case, he did deal with the specific points that American families are looking for now. So one good thing, less than $100,000 per year, those folks would be receiving some benefits as it relates to the $3,400 per family of four would be receiving their stimulus checks. Now, again, because there's not a lot of utility pieces or the technical pieces in the things that he says, I don't know exactly how they're going to be paid, and we don't have any dates yet. But as information becomes available, I will make sure that I bring that information to you. Of course, you may find it on your own, and you can leave it in the comments and tell me about it, as most of you guys do. I love the fact that everybody here really chats with one another, gives that information, gives links, which I welcome everybody to do. But in this case, the president has done some pretty remarkable things as it relates to directly handling this. Now, one thing I'd like to say, there's a couple of points that he did make. He made a point that the Democrats' bill in this particular case had some things in it that most Americans possibly didn't know. He shed a little light on that, and they are: letter A, he mentioned the fact that, of course, again, they wanted to give stimulus checks to illegal aliens. And those are his words. They wanted to give stimulus checks to illegal aliens, people who were not here legally. And again, this is just one of the things that he went ahead and moved forward with, not dealing with. Another thing is in his words, that had nothing to do with the China virus or the coronavirus. He stated that they also wanted to have an immediate release for all illegal aliens who were arrested or detained in prisons for crimes that they had committed while here in the United States. He said to him it really didn't make any sense to have that there, but that having that gigantic bill balled up like that, that was one of the pieces, and they were not willing, and by they, I mean the Democrats were not willing to release that idea or let that idea go. So in this case, he said it made just better sense to move ahead, move forward, and take care of it. Now, one other thing that he did mention, as far as most of the states that are really poorly run, I would imagine, based on, some of the things that he said, you would imagine maybe California, maybe, the Minnesota situation that just happened. And so he was stating that most of those governors and mayors have done really badly. They have done poorly with regard to the infrastructure of their own states, as well as poor spending and allowing some of the rampant vandalism that has taken place in the most recent months to take place. And so with that, there was apparently a large lump sum of money that would be doled out to states for that. And he, with all specificity, outlined the other portion of the Democrats' bill, which he believed was possibly the reason why they could not all come to an agreement. And that was to pass out a blanket for all states in the United States to just do, the voter ID, scratch it for voting. You don't need to have an identification. And of course, as most people do know, they have been using that to state that, hey, it affects black and brown people. But all of us know that even for you to cash a welfare check, if it was to that point, you'd have to have identification, right? So he said that was ridiculous, and that they also wanted to encourage a great deal of voter fraud within their bill because they wanted to utilize funds for specific pieces that he stated, according to the way he read it, would also lend to illegal practices and illegal activities as it relates to voting. So with that said, a lot has been said here in the last 7 or 8 minutes, but I just wanted to bring those tips and points to you. Please, I'm going to leave a link down below in the description box. You'll be able to look at it for yourself to see out of his mouth exactly what he said. It is so important for us, no matter whether we are Democrat, Republican, Greenpeace, any of these other things, it is so important for us to see out of the person's mouth what they said. And then you use your own critical thought or critical thinking to dissect the verbiage they've used to describe their stance. That is so important. That's something that's missing. That's something that a lot of people are not able to do. They're regurgitating information from others, and I don't want you to do that. Not here, not with me, not with anybody else. Because when you get understanding, and all you're getting, you have to get understanding with any knowledge that you get. So with that said, down below in the description box will be the link to his press conference where you can hear it out of his mouth, not sound bites from other people. Okay? All right, folks, thank you so very much. Thank you for listening. This is Felicia Lockhart, and this has been the Lockhart Perspective.